everyone's just in survival mode versus thrive mode. And it's really focusing on how can we get people back to feeling like they're thriving. And it's also had to have long, hard conversations with finance and the larger organization in terms of what do we need to deprioritize, because we cannot continue to add and add and add when we're not adding resources.
I agree with everything that was just said. And I think it's an ongoing communication up the chain on what the team is doing. I try to overly communicate. And I think a lot of times our teams just want to be appreciated, for the work that they're doing. We have a lot of good people. They like the company that they work for, but I have found, and I'm sure everybody else does this, it's just taking the time out of our busy schedules and our teams just to let them vent a little bit and show appreciation.
This is the kind of thing that starts at the top, and it's really leadership driven. So to recognize that someone that no longer has a commute and is losing maybe 30 minutes on each side of their day, driving in, as well as the time that's spent in offices when you are in between meetings and so forth, all of the time that you're going to lose. I think just recognizing that and sharing it with teams and kind of resetting everyone's expectations. I just think it's something that's important to recognize and again, share kind of top down, so people realize that, again, we're going to a whole nother wild west of this type of hybrid model that no one's really been in before.
I have found that most of my team hasn't gained any time back. They've lost the time. People are working much longer hours with, even when you encourage them to take breaks and this and that, it's not happening. I'm all for some form of a hybrid model. I think it's good for young people and new employees to be exposed to other people that they're not being exposed to,
We're starting to feel it now, but I would say for the first year or so, like several months, while we didn't have that time in the car, we had that extra 2 hours getting taken up by other things that weren't normally taken up by the workday. So we really didn't get any time back. We lost time as a result of that. So we haven't raised the expectations at all. Like, we didn't get this extra time, so we're not having to lower expectations again. Most of our teams will be hybrid, and by that we're just going to say, hey, here are the days of the week we're all just going to coordinate to come in, because it doesn't make sense for a few people to come in, a few people not come in, that kind of thing, and just say, we're in person these days. These are the days we're going to have meetings. We're coming in person to talk to each other. These are the days we're going to schedule it. The work from home days, we're going to try to the best of our ability to make focus work days, distraction-free days, get stuff done on your own time. So that way we kind of maintain that level of productivity, but in theory should be a little bit more sustainable in the long term.
As well, we're not going to go back. The only way that we will go back to the good old days is if we go back to the good old days of payment, which means we get paid by the hour. And so if we change people's remuneration to say, we're going to pay you hourly, it's no more of this, your contract says 9 to 5, but it ends up becoming like 5 to 7, which is what I'm on at the moment. I think it's that reality of fine, then let's pay for the hours, because then the organization can really see what the cost is of people, and let's do that for a while and see then really truly how many people do we have and what is the work that the organization is expecting to come out, because we are going to have to level set. And I know that's radical, no one is going to do that, but maybe we start a little movement because I think people aren't valuing the amount of work that people are doing in an hour, and people aren't valuing the number of hours that's expected of people to put into corporations. So I read a very nice quote this week that says, have you gotten to the point where when you say yes, you say no to yourself? And I know for myself, I'm absolutely there. By saying yes to every task, I'm not having any time for myself as an individual. And if I don't have that balance, I'm most definitely not the best employee, and I'm most definitely not a great leader.
What we've seen a lot of customers really focusing on is CDPs. So investing in the technology to make sure you can actually take advantage of the data. We're going to lose certain things that we were used to in the marketing world with things like remarketing and stuff like that. But by connecting the tools that we have and the systems together, there's a lot of ways to make up for that. You can upload, current customer lists and anonymize it, and turn that into sort of lookalike audiences and other ways to tackle that. It's just a doubling down on the technology and the infrastructure to support the marketing and the analytics. It's getting those teams working together. That is the big focus that we're seeing everywhere.
I think it's time for everybody to start organizing that data lake they've been dumping data into for the last 5 years. Take it in pieces too, because if you try to just make sense of too much data, it's gonna overwhelm you and you're gonna get nothing accomplished. So it's, probably just tackle things in pieces and organize things into chunks and make small improvements versus trying to accomplish it all.